Welcome back, Kings. Thanks for returning to Fathers R Us, Tales from the Fatherhood. We see you.
Yeah, we really appreciate you being here.
And we're glad you're here, ready to grow, ready to break cycles, ready to build something, better for your kids and yourself.
Definitely.
Today, we're embarking on a really crucial deep dive, right here on the deep dive. Our mission is to truly unpack what it means to be a man, and specifically a father, in today's world. It's complex, it's evolving.
It really is.
We're going to dissect those traditional ideas of masculinity, look at where they came from, their roots,
Yeah, the history matters.
and then really illuminate what modern strength actually looks like. Offer some tangible ways you can apply it in your own life and, of course, in raising the next generation.
That practical piece is so important.
We get it. There are layers, right? Societal expectations, personal stuff, all shaping how we see manhood. This deep dive, well, it's kind of a shortcut to getting really well informed on this vital topic.
Cutting through the noise, basically.
Exactly. It's time to lead by example, not just with words, but, with our actions. So let's get into it.
Let's do it.
Let's unite, let's elaborate, let's apply this bread and meat, this knowledge that feeds us, strengthens us, lifts us up as real men, real fathers. Let's dig in.
Okay. And what's really striking when you start digging into this is just how deep some of these ideas run, but also how much they're actually shifting, like right now.
Yeah, you can feel it changing.
For this deep dive, we're pulling from some really powerful sources. We've got key insights from Word in Black. They offer a really nuanced view on how Black men are redefining masculinity, especially with all the racial stereotypes they face.
That perspective is critical.
Absolutely. And then there's Fathers Are Us, Tales from the Fatherhood, which gives us that very personal, relatable look at the modern dad's evolving role.
Real stories.
Exactly. So together, these sources kind of weave this rich tapestry.
Yeah.
They help us grasp the history, the challenges men face now, and, crucially, a hopeful, actionable way forward.
Okay, let's really unravel this then. Because to understand where we're going, we absolutely have to get where we've come from.
Couldn't agree more. The foundation.
For generations, men have just been bombarded with these phrases, right? Like a script almost, defining masculinity. Think about them. Man up.
Heard that one a million times.
Boys don't cry.
Yeah.
Be a real man. These aren't just like old sayings. They are incredibly heavy. They carry these ingrained expectations that have shaped so many lives.
So much pressure packed into just a few words.
Totally. We're talking about this mandate to be tough, always dominate, stay in control, handle everything solo. And yeah, even those specific physical ideals, like you got to build pecs and bicep.
Right. The physical performance aspect, too.
It's exhausting. It's an exhausting blueprint for life and often really isolating.
And if we take a step back, look at the wider context, especially as our sources point out, for Black men. These phrases, they aren't just the usual gender burdens.
Right. It's deeper.
Much deeper. The sources highlight this critical truth. For Black men, these expectations are, quote, full of centuries of racial trauma and oppression. That makes the weight uniquely heavier. There's just no denying it.
Wow. Yeah, you have to layer that on top.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Imagine carrying not just the gender stuff, but also the historical, ongoing weight of systemic racism. Our fathers, our grandfathers, they were often told or just knew implicitly that a man provides, protects, doesn't cry, keeps it inside.
That was the code.
It was the code.
Yeah.
If they were hurting emotionally, physically, whatever,
Right.
the coping mechanisms were often to, drank it away, worked it away, or buried it deep.
Swept it under the rug.
Completely. And look, this wasn't some personal failing. This was their understanding of strength, forged by what the world told them was necessary for survival, for respect. It was like a distorted mirror reflecting society's demands.
That's a really powerful distinction. It reframes the whole thing.
It does.
And brings up this fundamental question, one we really want you listening right now to think about. When we consider these huge historical burdens, these inherited ways of coping, is that really the definition of strength we want to keep upholding?
Yeah, is that the legacy?
Because when you look at the real-world consequences, the answer gets pretty stark pretty fast.
Yeah.
It directly hits men's health, physical and mental, in some really devastating ways.
Which leads us right into this silent sickness, you could call it, that often goes hand in hand with suppressed emotion.
Silent sickness, yeah.
The stats here are, frankly, deeply concerning. Our sources show Black men are dying younger and getting sicker earlier than their white peers.
And not by a little bit.
No, it's a significant gap, especially from preventable conditions, heart disease, stroke, certain cancers. Now, the immediate reaction for some might be to, blame toxic masculinity.
It's an easy target sometimes.
It is. But the expert perspective in our sources points towards a different, much more pervasive villain: systemic racism.
That's a critical pivot. Explain that more.
Well, Derek Griffith, he's a health equity university professor, he really unpacks this. He states very clearly that the biggest harm to black men's mental health is not these ideals of masculinity, but the chronic stressors they experience because of structural racism.
Okay, so structural racism, that's not just individual attitudes, right?
Right.
It's bigger.
Exactly. It's the systems. Embedded policies, practices, norms across institutions, housing, education, jobs, the legal system, things that create and just keep perpetuating racial inequality. Griffith argues that the way black men experience this constant pervasive racism is actually more of a predictor of their health outcomes than their personal views on masculinity.
So it's the daily grind, the systemic barriers. That's the root cause affecting health.
That's what he's arguing. Yeah, it's fundamental. And it's illuminating just how deeply these systemic issues connect. We're talking huge disparities in income, gaps in education, way less access to good health insurance.
We're all connected.
All connected. These aren't just isolated problems. They pile up with what experts call the weathering of racism-related stress.
Weathering, like erosion over time.
Precisely. It's not just single incidents, but the cumulative corrosive effect of constantly dealing with racial bias, discrimination, microaggressions over a whole lifetime. Think of it like a slow, steady storm just wearing down your resilience, chipping away at physical and mental health year after year.
Man, that's heavy.
It is. And all these factors contribute massively to higher rates of chronic disease. Now, while systemic racism is identified as this primary villain, we absolutely can't ignore that traditional ideas about masculinity have still played a role in their perceptions and experiences of physical and mental health.
Okay, so it's not either.
No, it's complex. These masculinity norms play a part for black men and really for men in general. We see it in how men are often less likely to use preventative health services.
Putting off the doctor visits.
Exactly. And they're more likely to wait longer to seek care for symptoms. So you have this interplay where the societal pressure to be tough, to not complain, can actually compound the huge pressure of racism, creating this dangerous feedback loop for health.
Wow. Okay, so we see the physical toll, the health impact. But let's zoom out a bit. How do these deep-seated ideas about masculinity shape the whole culture? How we see ourselves, how others see us?
Yeah, the societal pressure points.
Let's talk about that Pew Research Center report. Big study, over 6,000 U.S. adults asking about masculinity, what's acceptable behavior, gender roles. What did they find?
Well, one really clear finding was a generational divide. They found that young men between the ages of 18 and 29 are less likely to rate themselves as highly masculine compared to older guys.
Interesting. Less likely to see themselves that way.
Yeah, significantly less. Like more than 50% of men 50 and older rated themselves highly masculine, but it dropped off for the younger group.
Why did Pew even do this study? What was the context?
It really came about because of all these national conversations about the status of men. You know, there's this undercurrent, this belief some people hold that masculinity is under attack, or there's a movement towards feminizing men.
Ah, the culture war aspect.
Exactly. That tension is there. And it highlights how messy defining these terms can be. If you ask people about toxic masculinity, you get wildly different answers, right? Depends on race, ethnicity, background.
So how do our sources define it, just for clarity?
They give a pretty practical dictionary definition to ground us. It's described as a set of traits, behaviors, and roles that society assigns a for men label.
Like a societal template.
Pretty much. Includes being tough, dominating, staying in control, handling business solo. And yeah, even those physical things like building pecs and biceps. It's about that restrictive template that often squashes healthy emotional expression.
And does this template hit differently based on race?
It definitely seems to.
Yeah.
There was a 2022 study cited in our sources, and it found that young black males were more likely than white male youths to feel greater pressure, to be physically strong, emotionally strong, play sports, and even to dominate or control others.
More pressure from a younger age.
Yeah, think about internalizing that extra burden so early on. It's a weight that can shape your whole life before you're even fully an adult.
So connecting the dots, this pressure, these expectations, how strongly are they linked to negative outcomes?
Well, research can't always prove direct cause and effect, right? But there's an incredibly strong correlation, a strong link between these masculine pressures and poor physical and mental health outcomes.
Like delaying getting help.
Exactly. Delaying seeking care, avoiding it altogether, like we mentioned. It's not about blaming men. It's about understanding the huge, often invisible pressures they're navigating. These pressures have real, tangible consequences for their well-being, pushing them towards unhealthy coping or isolation.
Seeing the full scope of the struggle. Got it.
Mm.
So if that's the legacy, the script we've been handed, how do we start breaking the mold?
Yeah, moving towards redefining strength.
It really starts with questioning those rules, right? Those ingrained ideas. We
Right.
heard this compelling story from Devin Horace. He's 32. Grew up in Rochester, New York. Single mom, 8 siblings. In the hood, as he put it. And he talked about his early view of masculinity.
What was it like for him?
Very much about being hard, straight, and demanding respect. That was his reality, how he learned what a man was supposed to be in that specific environment.
Shaped by circumstance.
Totally. But what's fascinating is his evolution. He described how, as he got older, more open-minded, he started learning that masculinity is not as rigid and defined as it is.
So he started questioning it.
Yeah. His father wasn't around, so he didn't have that single male blueprint. He had to actively seek it out. He turned to the men around him. Uncles, guys from church, teachers, his friends' dads.
Gathering intel.
Right. He said he would consciously pick and choose principles from them because, and this is wise, every man isn't right and every man isn't wrong.
That's incredibly insightful, building his own definition, piece by piece.
Exactly, a self-directed quest for meaning. And he says he's still on that journey, which I think so many of us can relate to.
Ongoing work.
He said, still on that journey of discovering what kind of man I want to be and the principles I want to follow. He gave credit to a couple of key positive influences, too.
Oh, yeah. Cool.
His second-grade math teacher and his high school coach said they were instrumental in keeping him off the streets, taught him kindness, respect, even in that tough environment.
Wow. Mentors matter.
Hugely.
Yeah.
And through his own research, reading, Devin realized there are just many variations of men and masculinity, which led him to ask this really profound question: who makes these rules in the first place?
Boom. Taking back the power.
Right, that moment of agency.
And this whole thing Devin went through, it really raises critical questions about emotional expression, doesn't it?
Absolutely, how society views it.
Our sources point out how showing emotions often gets incorrectly labeled as feminine. But the flip side, according to the American Psychological Association, is dangerous. That overly self-reliant and unemotional behavior, it's directly linked to men being less likely to seek help for mental health issues.
Which has real consequences.
Serious ones. We're talking higher rates of death by suicide, and men being more frequently the victims of homicide. It's this tragic trap where the stoicism society encourages can actually lead to severe harm, isolation, even death.
It's devastating.
Yeah. Horace's hope, and it echoes through our sources, is that men are becoming more aware of the importance of mental health and showing vulnerability. For him, that means becoming better versions of men to society.
That's the positive shift we need, moving from rigid and damaging to healthy and connected.
Exactly.
And it's compelling how these ideas about gender roles, about masculinity, they can get baked in so early, right? Like grade school, adolescence.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Which is why the work Aaron Massey is doing is so important. He's 36, Managing Director of Leadership Development at Teach for America.
Okay, what does he do?
He trains black male teachers, mostly young guys, 22 to 28. He calls it a highly stressful time for them navigating tough classrooms, figuring out their own identities.
That's a crucial age.
Right. And he specifically helps them figure out how to manage classroom control without resorting to stereotypes of black male aggression. That's a very specific, needed skill, given the biases out there.
Wow, yeah. Addressing it head on.
And his key observation from over a decade in education is really profound. He says, black boys almost immediately get into a defensive and protective mode when they see a black man in education.
Whoa. Why does he think that happens?
He connects it straight back to the bigger picture. Years of entertainment, media, and cultural spaces, pushing the narrative of the angry or dangerous black man.
Those pervasive images.
Exactly. They're everywhere. And they undeniably shape how people see and interact with black men, often leading to immediate suspicion or fear, which naturally triggers a defensive reaction in the boys. It becomes this self-fulfilling cycle born from misrepresentation.
Yeah. And that narrative, that false image, it has painful personal costs too, right? For the men themselves.
Absolutely. Massey shared that growing up in a rough area, he mistakenly equated masculinity with fear and trying to show fear. He admits now it was a false equivalency, but it was his reality for a long time.
That constant need to project toughness.
Yeah. And think about the consequence he identifies. I believe black men don't even know how to care for themselves in certain ways. It's a stressful idea to think I have to be tough all day.
Just exhausting, unsustainable, creates this disconnect from your own needs.
Totally. A habit of suppression. But his personal shift away from that is really inspiring. It's about authenticity, self-preservation.
How does she shift?
After years navigating this stuff in education, he had this realization about the absolute importance of caring for his mental health, presenting his authentic self, and fundamentally prioritizing his health above everything else.
Putting himself first in a healthy way.
Exactly. It's no longer about fitting into someone else's narrow, harmful definition of masculinity. It's about owning his well-being, physical and emotional. Which, makes you wonder, how many of us are living by someone else's rules for strength, sacrificing our true selves and our health instead of defining our own?
That's a powerful question. And look, we can't really have this deep dive without tackling toxic masculinity head on. It's a loaded term, controversial sometimes.
It definitely is.
But for good reason, right? Because it points to genuinely harmful behaviors. Our sources define it as including violence, sexual entitlement, homophobia, and emotional illiteracy.
Yeah, those are the core elements often cited.
And the most extreme aspects are just horrifying, especially sexual violence against women and femicide. The data, it's chilling. In 2022 alone, men killed more than 2,400 women, and get this, roughly 9 in 10 of those victims knew their killer.
It's sickening. These are the extreme, unacceptable criminal behaviors that have been tied to unchecked, harmful masculinity. We have to condemn them, unequivocally.
Absolutely. But interestingly, amidst these really dark realities, there's maybe a glimmer of hope in the data.
Yeah, there is actually. Our sources point to a significant positive shift in attitude toward acceptable and unacceptable behaviors that men have towards women.
Like what? Give me an example.
Okay, so 75% of U.S. adults now think it's unacceptable for men to join in when other men are talking about women in a sexual way.
That's a big majority.
It is. And nearly 70% think it's unacceptable for men to have many different sexual partners. That suggests a real move away from those old ideas of male sexual entitlement.
So societal norms are evolving towards more respect.
It looks that way. A collective evolution towards healthier interactions.
Okay. But we also need to acknowledge the nuance here, right? Professor Griffith, the health equity expert we mentioned, he critiques the term toxic masculinity.
He does. He pushes back on it. Not to excuse bad behavior, let's be clear.
Right. Not making excuses.
No. But he feels the term is often used to describe men in this broad, maybe kind of reductive way, and doesn't always capture how men actually see themselves or their own struggles.
So the label itself might be a barrier sometimes.
That's the concern he raises. Are we potentially missing the real aspirations, the complexities of men, by using a label that, while useful for identifying harm, might also inadvertently push some guys away from the conversation we need them in?
Interesting point. So what did his research find about men's aspirations, particularly black men?
His research found something crucial. These men tend to aspire to form better relationships and achieve success. Their goal isn't usually to be emotionally stunted or violent.
They want connection, success.
Exactly. Griffith believes that the disconnect and flattening of the ways men experience the world, see themselves, and define the ideals of who they're trying to be is a barrier to how we see men.
So we need a deeper understanding beyond just the label.
Precisely. Again, this isn't about downplaying real harm. Toxic behaviors are abhorrent, must be stopped. But it is a call to look deeper, move beyond broad labels, and actually engage with men's real desires for growth, connection, positive contribution.
Recognizing complexity, individuality.
Yes, and how they define their journey to being better partners, fathers, community members. We have to hold both truths. Harmful behavior exists and needs addressing, and most men aspire to something much more positive and constructive.
Okay, that makes sense. So bringing this all together, what does this mean for you, the modern father listening right now? This is where it gets really actionable, really hopeful.
Yeah, the good news part.
The good news, based on our sources, what we're seeing, dads today are genuinely waking up.
There's a shift happening.
A big one.
Yeah.
We're collectively redefining strength. It's not just about how many hours we grind or how quiet we stay or how much we lift.
Right. Less about the external performance.
Exactly. It's becoming much more about how we show up. Not just at work, not just paying bills, but showing up emotionally. That's the huge, profound, necessary shift.
And that modern dad, He embodies a totally different kind of strength, doesn't he? But it's immensely powerful.
How so? Break it down.
Well, he doesn't just hug his kids, he talks to them. Really talks. About feelings, experiences. He doesn't just fix the leaky faucet. He tries to fix what's broken in himself.
Self-awareness, growth.
Yes. And maybe most importantly, he models what real strength is. Being open, being teachable, loving deeply, apologizing when he's wrong.
Modeling vulnerability as strength.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which raises that critical question about legacy. Are we passing down stoicism and suppression, or are we building a legacy of emotional intelligence and real connection?
And the impact this shift has on our kids, I mean, that's the biggest payoff, isn't it? It's undeniable.
Huge.
Think about it. When our sons see us cry, see our vulnerability, they learn it's okay to feel their own stuff. It's safe. Expressing sadness, frustration, that's not weakness. It's just human.
Yeah.
Healthy.
Normalizing emotion.
Right. And when our daughters see us talk through anger calmly, instead of yelling or shutting down, they learn what real respect looks like in a relationship. They see conflict navigated with communication, not control or rage.
Setting the standard for their future relationships.
Exactly. This isn't just about our own growth. This is how we fundamentally break generational trauma. It happens one conversation, one choice at a time, consciously choosing a healthier path for the next generation, freeing them from the burdens maybe we carried.
That's powerful work.
It really is. I'll share my own quick tale from the fatherhood that just hammered this home for me, made it so real.
Okay, yeah, let's hear it.
A few years back, one of those mornings, hectic, stressed, and I just snapped at my kid over something tiny, spilled cereal, I think. Felt like the last straw.
We've all been there.
Right. But he just froze. And in that second, I saw pure fear in his eyes. Way out of proportion to the cereal, but boom, it triggered me. Total flashback to my own dad yelling. That cold, tense house I grew up in where nobody talked feelings, just tension. It was like looking in a painful mirror, seeing something I swore I wouldn't repeat.
Wow. That moment of recognition, seeing the pattern.
Yeah. And in that moment, the cycle could have just kept going, right? Fear, suppression.
Easily. But you chose differently.
I had to. Later that night, I went and sat on his bed, and I just apologized. Hey, buddy, Dad was wrong today. I shouldn't have yelled like that. I was stressed, but that's not your fault.
Owning it. Vulnerability.
Yeah.
Accountability. That's huge.
And the result, immediate, powerful. He just hugged me tighter than ever. No lecture, no forced makeup, just pure connection.
That emotional repair. Wow.
That was the day I really got it. My son doesn't need a perfect dad. None of our kids do. He needs an honest dad, a dad who owns his mistakes, admits when he's wrong, and actually shows him how to do it too.
Leading by example through action, not just words.
Exactly. That's the core lesson, I think, for all of us trying to be better men, better fathers.
Absolutely.
So if you're listening, nodding along, thinking, okay, I get it, this resonates, but how do I actually do this? How do I make this real in my daily life?
Yeah, the practical step.
We've boiled it down to 4 key action steps. Practical things you can start doing. First one, cultivate open communication. We're calling it talk it out.
Okay. So what does talk it out look like in practice?
It means really checking in with your kids, going deeper than the surface stuff, not just how was school. Try asking something like, how's your heart today? Or what's been on your mind lately?
Inviting emotional sharing.
Right. And if they just give you fine, don't push right away. Try opening up first. Model it. Share something real about your day, a small frustration, a moment of pride, a challenge.
Be authentic yourself first.
Exactly. That modeling is key. Kids learn authenticity by seeing it. When they see you share your real self, they get the message. It's safe for them too. And this isn't a one-off chat. It's consistent, building that culture of openness.
Makes sense. Okay, what's step 2?
Step 2 is vital for the whole family's emotional health. Model it with your partner. Bring that emotional strength, vulnerability, respect into your most intimate relationship.
How does that look day to day?
When you're frustrated, don't just stuff it down or blow up. Try saying it calmly. Honey, I'm feeling overwhelmed right now. Need a minute before we talk so I can be calm. Or, feeling stressed about work, wanted you to know so it doesn't spill over.
Naming the feeling, stating the need.
Yes. And when you mess up, because we all do apologize, out loud, directly, sincerely, don't let it hang there. Show them what owning mistakes looks like, what repairing connection looks like.
And that kind of behavior vulnerability, owning mistakes, communicating calmly, that doesn't make you weak, right?
Not at all. It makes you incredibly strong. Honestly, it makes you the strongest man in the room. It shows self-awareness, emotional regulation, respect, commitment. Hallmarks of a powerful, healthy person.
It really reframes strength, doesn't it? Makes you ask, are we valuing the right kind?
Mhm.
Are we showing the emotional resilience we want our kids to have? It's not just about the partner relationship. It's modeling for the kids.
Exactly. Okay, action step number 3. Find your circle. Let's be real clear. You do not have to do this alone.
So important. Don't isolate.
This journey, redefining things, being a better dad, it's rewarding, but it can be tough, lonely sometimes. We all need support. So talk to another dad you trust, someone on a similar path.
Share the load.
Reach out. Text your brother, your cousin, close friend. Someone who gets you, who can listen without judgment. And seriously, if you're struggling or just need that safe space, get a therapist if you need to. More resources available now than ever.
Absolutely. Zero shame in that. It's a sign of strength.
Totally. And the reason this is so crucial, our sources nail it. Don't go it alone. You can't pour from an empty cup. Simple as that.
Can't argue with that logic.
To be present, emotionally available, supportive for your family, you need to be nourished yourself. You need your own support system. Trying to carry it all silently isn't strength. It's a path to burnout, resentment, disconnection.
Your circle is your reservoir. Keeps you full so you can give.
Well said. Okay, final action step. Number 4, watch your words. Be incredibly conscious of the language you use. It shapes the next generation.
Words have power.
Huge power. Your kids are listening constantly, absorbing how you talk about feelings, other people, yourself. They mirror your language, internalize your unspoken rules.
Which makes you think about those casual phrases we've all heard, maybe even used. Man up. Boys don't cry.
Exactly. What's the impact of those words?
The sources are clear. If you say man up to your son or tell anyone boys don't cry, guess what? They'll carry that lie for life. These aren't harmless phrases. They're psychological barriers.
Wow, barriers.
Yeah, they limit a child's emotional development, their ability to connect genuinely, to express their true selves. It becomes this ingrained subconscious belief system, restricting their whole emotional world. So it really boils down to being intentional with every word, recognizing the immense power your language holds.
Shaping their emotional future. Got it. Okay, so dads, kings, brothers, wrapping this up. Here's the central truth, the core takeaway from this deep dive.
Lay it on us.
Real strength is softer than you think. It's patient, it's open, it's teachable. It's about having the courage to lean into vulnerability, not run from it.
Embracing the discomfort sometimes.
Yes, you want your kids to break cycles. Want them to be emotionally intelligent, resilient adults. It starts with you. Not by being perfect, none of us are, but by being real, honest, authentic.
It really does start with us.
So we want to leave you with a final challenge, something to reflect on, maybe take action on.
Okay, a call to action.
Tonight or the next time you feel that anger rising or that feeling of being totally overwhelmed, just pause for one moment. Take a breath.
Interrupt the pattern.
Exactly. Instead of burying it or lashing out, try talking it through with someone you trust, your partner, even just acknowledging it out loud to yourself. Then, maybe with that little bit of space, hug your kids tighter than ever. Just because.
Connection.
Yeah. And tell your boys explicitly it's okay to cry. Tears aren't weakness, they're human. Tell your daughters that a real man doesn't hide behind silence or rage. He finds strength in communication, in empathy.
Redefining it for them out loud.
Yes, because embracing this new kind of strength, it's not just for you, it's for the profound, lasting, positive impact it will have on the next generation. Building that legacy of real emotional resilience, authentic connection, that's the work.
Couldn't have said it better myself. That's the real fatherhood journey.